We're back for day 2 of breaking in a clarinet reed. On the first day I played each reed for no more than 30 seconds just to get a feel for how it plays. On day 2 I can play maybe up to 5 minutes, and I do what I would consider the final step in the reed making process. I score the reed at the beginning of the vamp and I take that bark off, which helps for the low end notes, and maybe that will translate through the microphone, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. So let's get started, and I'm going to pick my number 1 reed from yesterday and start out with that. The reeds, when I play them the first time, I number them from 1 to 5 in the case, and they almost never stay in that order. They change so much within the first 2, 3, 4, 5 times that you play them. My reed break-in process generally is a 5-day breaking in period, and by the 5th time I play a reed, I know what to expect from it. But until that time, they'll continue to change order as they settle in. If you can hear, it sounds heavier on the right side than it does on the left side. It's causing a little bit of fuzziness. This is the one that I said yesterday sounded a little bit fuzzy. See if you can hear. When I roll it to this side, I'm stopping the vibrating on the left side of the reed. And then when I roll it to this side, I'm stopping the vibrating on the right side of the reed. And see if you can hear that difference. So it's blowing much freer on the left side. I'm going to try to show you how I work that right side tip with my knife, and hopefully that will improve it. If not, then we might have to clip it if it becomes too soft. All right, I'm ready to make the adjustment on my reed. It was playing heavier on the right hand side, so I'm going to take my reed knife and I'm just going to take a little bit off of the right side. The way I do that is I come in evenly with my knife and I just take sweeping cuts, trying to be as even as possible. And we just do a little bit at a time. So I'll go ahead and put that back on. We'll see how it plays now. Okay, I ended up balancing it one more time. When I balanced it the one time that you saw me on video, I put it back on and play tested. It was still a little bit heavy, so I did it again. Once I got it balanced, it was playing a little bit thin, so I did clip it. If you remember, when I make the reeds, I leave myself a little bit of room so I can give it another clip. After I did those 2 things, it seems like it's playing pretty well. What I'm going to do now is score about right here and take off that bark, and it should free up the low notes. I'm still not completely happy with the way that the reed is playing and the way that it sounds, but I always just try to take it one step at a time and never do too much at once. So hopefully I can get in close and show you the process that I use for scoring the reed and removing the bark. For this step, I use a 1-inch dowel that I made out of hard maple, and I created a flat surface on it for the reed to sit, and then I have a hose clamp that tightens down to hold the reed in place. The hose clamp then acts as a stop for this little block of wood that I made that sits on the bark side of the reed. And then I have my marking knife where I can come in and mark a straight line across the bark side of the reed. So I use the block of wood as my reference surface, and I use my marking knife to mark going one way, and then I come in the other way. And you can see I have a line marked. So I just double check and make sure that I'm deep enough. All right, that looks good. Now that I have my score mark and I know where to cut, I take my double bevel hollow ground reed knife that's sharpened, very sharp, and I set the blade right into that mark, and then I just remove the bark from the reed. Okay, and then I turn it around and I come in this direction to just clean up and get a clean cut to my scribe line. Okay. And one more time to take off the remaining material. I'm also feeling with my knife to make sure that I got a smooth cut. Use a scraping motion. There you go. I finished cleaning the bark off of the back side of the reed. Let's hear how it plays. So it sounds like it plays pretty well. It's day 2, so it's too early to tell whether or not it's going to turn out to be a really good reed or just playable. But we'll continue to break it in. At this point, I'll take it off, put it on the glass and massage it like I did for day 1. I'll put another mark on the butt of the reed, and then I'll put it away to dry and continue on with the next 4 reeds. Here we are at the end of day number 2 of our clarinet reed break-in process. I took each of the 5 reeds and I played them for no more than 5 minutes, and during that process I score the back of the reed and I remove the bark that's toward the beginning of the vamp. That helps the low notes to resonate and to respond better. I also do minor adjustments as needed One of the reeds needed a little bit more adjustment, so I do what's needed, but I try not to do too much. You also might have noticed that during day one, I only play up to a G. That's the G that's on top of the treble clef staff. I try not to go any higher than that. I try not to push it too hard. I just want to get a feel for how the reed plays off of the reed profiler. In day number two, I take it a little bit higher. I go up to the high C, which is 2 ledger lines above the treble clef staff. And I push it a little bit harder. I start to articulate to feel how the reed responds and what adjustments might be needed to help it to respond better, if any. At the end of each playing, of course, I massage it on the glass. And then I put a mark on the butt end of the reed to indicate how many times it's been played. And then I put them back into the case for them to dry overnight. On day number 3, 4, and 5, now I'll play the reeds full range. I'll start to lay into them and see what they can do, push it a little bit, and make any adjustments on those days that need to be made. Tomorrow I hope to have a special guest here, so you won't want to miss that.